Hey guys, Ed here, bringing you part 11 of the Cataclysm. Before I get into it, I would like for you guys to check out the description down below. With no further ado, let's get into it!
Fearless.
Where last left off, the villains attacked the summer camp, and Jiro was the first akumatized victim in a while. After it was said and done, the villains failed to getting Izuku, but instead they managed to snatch Bakugo. And they were gone, just like that. Izuku fell to his knees in shock and defeated, shouting Katsuki's name. As Izuku's shock became rage, the Cataclysm was swirling around his hand, and when he slammed his fist into the ground nearly shattered, endangering others. They managed to avoid the catastrophe, but all they can hear were the soft sobs imbued with uselessness and despair. Marinette placed a hand on his shoulder, but before she could say anything, Izuku turned around and hugged her as he cried. The students there watching this didn't know what to think. Marinette spoke up as she would say, "Everybody, get back to camp, return to your teachers, and wait for further instructions. I'll take care of Izuku." As the students left, only two stayed behind, which were Mina and Jiro. Marinette would say, "That means you two as well." Jiro would say, "This happened all because of me. I'm sorry." Marinette would say, "Don't be. It's not your fault." Back in the day, this was happening every other day. And it happened to all my friends, some more than once. Mina would say, "Will Izuku be alright?" Marinette would say, "Eventually, yes. But for now, he needs some venting out to do. And I don't think he would want to be in the center of attention right now." The two girls understood, and they left the two alone. After Izuku had time to cry his heart out, Tiki gave him a piece of camembert, which calmed him down. Marinette would say, "Do you feel a little better?" Izuku nodded. Marinette continues as she would say, "Look, I know how you feel, but don't blame Jiro. It's not her fault. I spent years dealing with Hawkmoth," and Izuku would say, "I don't care about that. I want to know why Kachin did that." Marinette would say, "Isn't it obvious? He cares so much about you, and he didn't want nothing to happen to you. That said, don't count him out yet. Though it's true that he's in trouble right now, that doesn't mean that we can't go and save him. Am I right?" Izuku cheering up, he would say, "That means I can... Ow, my shoulder." Marinette would say, "Huh. I guess your adrenaline subsided. Lift your shirt for me, please. Let me see the damage." Izuku's body was black and blue all over. Marinette would say, "In those conditions, you'll be going to recovery, girl." Izuku, acting like a child, he would say, "I don't want to see her. She's going to use that big needle. She's going to hurt me with it." Marinette, rolling her eyes, would say, "Mino, listen. Recovery girl won't use the needles on you. But do you mind telling me why you're so afraid of them?" Izuku would say, "Because one time when I was still an alley cat, I saw some people using them and their quirks were going out of control. And when I go to buy cheese, I sometimes see people using needles. But there was that one time that they used the needles and they kind of regressed, so I want to stay away from them." When I would say, "Tell you what, I want you to recover. I'll ask my students to look into this, and we'll try to find Katsuki. Then once we find him, we'll save him. Deal?" Izuku was in high spirits, and as in the original, the injured were brought to the hospital to recover. Shen and Reina, on the other hand, on Marinette's request, they went to investigate whatever it was that Izuku was talking about, and found more than they expected. They tracked the drug dealings all the way to the Yakuza, and from there, they rescued a little girl with bunny ears named Eri, which was pretty evident that she was used as an experiment. Thus, the Yakuza was taken care of easily, and Shen gave a full report to Marinette. The next day, Marinette went to visit Izuku, but on the way, she saw Kirishima and Todoroki looking inside of one of the rooms, and then they left. Marinette passed by the same door, only to find Momo talking with the police officer and All Might. Before she could leave, All Might noticed Marinette and invited her in. All Might would say, "Young Marinette, lucky for us that you were passing by." Marinette would say, "Sure, what's bugging you?" Momo simply rolled her eyes as there was a moment of awkward silence. Marinette would say, "Okay, I get it. The pun was dumb. So what's up?" All Might would say, "This is Detective Tsukaichi. He is my dear friend. Tsukaichi, this is Marinette, aka Ladybug." Tsukaichi would say, "Oh, now I get the pun. I believe we met in Hosu with the hero killer case. But there was no time for introductions. I was informed by Miss Yagirozu that a tracker has been placed on one of the creatures that attacked the first years from UA. Is it possible to have your cooperation as well?" Marinette would say, "I must warn you, you aren't facing a regular supervillain boss. And if my assumptions are correct, it will be a tough one, even with me and my students' help." Alma would say, "But weren't two of your students responsible for taking down the Yakuza and saving that girl?" A voice would say, "Yes, it was us." Marinette would say, "Shen, stop doing that. I apologize, but I couldn't help myself." Alma would say, "So, why would you consider this to be a tough one?" Shen would say, "Master, allow me. You see, Mr. Might, the power that this individual possesses is unique, to say the least. And it's not a quirk, and it could be easily used to destroy or take over the world at its fullest potential." Alma would say, "From how you're saying it, sounds like it's insignificant to the grand scheme of things." Shen would say, "Master, I believe he's beginning to catch on." As Marinette explained the situation, we cut over to Izuku's hospital room. And from there, we have the rundown of the situation, what happened to Bakugo until Kirishima spoke up. Kirishima would say, "So why not go and get him ourselves?" He would say, "Are you insane? We shouldn't get involved. We should leave this to the professionals." Kirishima would say, "How hypocritical of you, Ida. What happened during the internships? Where did you go?" Ida clicked his tongue in annoyance. Kirishima would say, "Yeah, click your tongue all you want. I know what you did. And I know that deep down you want to go and find Bakugo too. But you are too scared to do so." He would say, "That is still no excuse to go ourselves." Kirishima would say, "Look, I saw one of my friends jump in headfirst to save his friend. But I stood there unable to do anything. How can I call myself a hero or a man if I can't go the distance and do the same he did? Come on, Izuku. We can do this. We can save Bakugo." As Kirishima explained the plan, suddenly the students got into an argument, which attracted an Akuma. But luckily for Marinette's yo-yo, could be seen catching the Akuma before it could make contact with the students. Marinette would say, "I'm amazed that you managed to come up with a plan like that, but next time try not to let your emotions get the better of you." Kirishima was speechless as well as the others. Marinette would say, "Don't worry about a thing. You don't need to do something like that because I am here." and my students as well. So take this time to recover because you don't want to get involved in this fight. But if possible, I need to speak to Izuku alone, please. And Jiro? No eavesdropping. As everyone left the room, they saw Tiki floating there with a heavy look on her face. Mina would say, "You're Marinette's thingamajig, aren't you? Aren't you supposed to be with Marinette?" Tiki would say, "Yes, but first, Jiro, use your powers to listen in. Marinette wanted you to know what's going on, but she can't risk anyone hearing." Tiki flew through the wall and went by Marinette's side, while Mina convinced Jiro to do it. In the room, while Marinette and Izuku, Marinette would say, "So Izuku, we know where Katsuki might be, and I'm afraid that it'll be a rough one, even with my students helping." Izuku would say, "What are you talking about?" Marinette would say, "Izuku, what I'm trying to say is, I need your help, and I need your Cataclysm. The person that used Jiro during the training camp was one or both Miraculouses that are currently missing in the Miracle Box. And I've made a choice. I need you to destroy them. When I manage to get them, and then destroy the jewels that are in the Miracle Box." Izuku would say, "But how? Aren't they indestructible? And what about the other Kwamis?" Marinette would say, "The jewels are indestructible by ordinary means, but your Cataclysm, just like my Lucky Charm, can influence the entire universe, which happens to be if Tiki and Plague ever unify." Izuku would say, "But how can Plague and Tiki unify if..." Marinette would say, "Izuku, they are after you. In order for their plan to work, they need to kill you. Considering that they were after you from the get-go. I want you to hide the ring in a place where nobody will go looking for it." Izuku would say, I never asked for this. I wanted a simple life. Now, I have to be prepared to die?" Marinette would say, "I know exactly how you feel. I too wanted a normal and quiet life. But my master chose me. And he chose me for something better. So the question is, do you trust me, Chaton?" Marinette and Izuku spoke strategy while Jiro was listening in. At the time and place where Kirishima and Todoroki planned to meet, Jiro showed up alongside Mina from the hospital's entrance. Momo arrived and Ida was there blocking them from the gates. Kirishima would say, "Ida, so does that mean that you're coming with us?" Ida would say, "No, it doesn't. I'm here to stop you." Momo would say, "Well, I'm compromising. I know how Kirishima feels, and I know how the rest feel." Kirishima was like, "Thanks, Momo." Momo would say, "That said, as soon as I see sign that we might be dragged into a fight, I'll be the first one to get out of there, and I'm dragging you all with me." Marinette would say, "That won't be necessary." Shen would say, "Where is he? He's late." Fu would say, Now, if you were so persistent with him being on time, you should have brought him his hero costume instead of Max." Max would say, "Me? I'm right here. Don't you mean those three?" Julie would say, "We already gave him his stuff. He said that something about writing something." Ida would say, "What's the meaning of this?" Shen would say, "It's none of your concern. If you want answers, go home and turn on the TV. Where we're going, you have no business in being there." Keiko would say, "Oh look, there he is." Izuku arrived wearing his hero costume with more serious look while holding an envelope. Shen would say, "Took you long enough. Are you ready? Izuku would say, I need a few more minutes. Could you wait for me over there? Before Shen could say anything, Marinette spoke up. Marinette would say, sure, take as much time as you need. Marinette and her students gave Class 1A students some privacy. Ida would say, what's the meaning of this? Izuku would say, well, I was asked officially by the Parisian hero Ladybug and herself. And here I am. Kishin would say, so wait, does that mean that we can go as a team and grab Bakubro? Izuku would say, no. It means that I'll be joining them while you should be going home. It's far too dangerous. Which is why I'm giving this to you, Kyoka. Izuku hands over the ring and the envelope. Jiro, tearing up, would say, why? Why are you doing this? Izuku would say, I trust you, so I need to hide the ring, and if something happens, open the envelope. Jiro would say, that's not what I meant. You know exactly what's going to happen. So why are you doing this? Izuku would say, because ever since my mom died, I didn't have a family. But being with you guys, Aizawa, the others, All Might, Kachan, you became my family. Kacha's been there for me, so it's my turn to be there for him. Jiro suddenly kissed Izuku, catching everybody off guard. After the kiss, Jiro would say, then you better come back, got it? Izuku's mind had no time to process words, but instead he started to purr. After that, Marinette put on the Snake Miraculous and unified Sass and Tiki to give her the power of both Kwamis. And then Max made a portal and vanished from sight. Meanwhile, back with the group, someone was watching the entire scene from the sidelines, waiting patiently as the figure kept their eyes on the ring and the holder. To be continued. That's it for today's video. If you enjoyed, leave a like, comment down below. If you're new to the channel, consider subscribing for more. Turn on the bell notification to be updated so you never miss a video. That said, peace out.